Welcome to the True Detectives podcast, where we unpack some of the craziest detective stories out there.
Oh, I love that.
I'm your host, Adrian Smith, and with me, as always, is the brilliant Dr. Julia Jones.
Always happy to be here, Adrian.
Today, we're taking a look at this case you sent over, and let me tell you, it's a wild one.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
Cryptic warnings, escalating crimes, and a young detective racing against time to protect her own family. Buckle up, because this one is going to keep you on the edge of your seat.
From what I've seen, it really highlights the incredible pressure law enforcement face.
Yeah.
Especially when their own family becomes involved.
Exactly. So let's meet Kate, a sharp young detective who starts receiving a series of ominous letters. These aren't your average hate mail.
Oh.
These are predicting crimes with chilling accuracy.
You know, in your research notes, you mentioned an interest in criminal profiling.
Mm-hmm.
This case is a perfect example of how those profiles can sometimes be misleading.
Right. At first, everyone dismisses the letters as a prank, but then the predictions start coming true. A jewelry store robbery unfolds exactly as described in the first letter.
The level of detail in these predictions is fascinating. Instead of the usual vagueness, these notes give specific times, locations, even the number of perpetrators involved.
Yeah, and it gets even more intense with the second note. This time, it's a direct threat against the protector's home. And guess what? Kate's father is the sheriff. Talk about a personal stake in the case.
Wow. That detail really adds another layer of complexity to the investigation, doesn't it? Not only is Kate dealing with the professional pressure of solving these crimes, but she's also terrified for her family's safety.
Absolutely. She's caught in a nightmare scenario. Now, I know you're interested in the psychological impact of these types of crimes. What do you make of the perpetrator's tactics here?
Well, they're clearly trying to instill fear and uncertainty in both the police and their intended victims. By escalating the threats and making them increasingly personal, the perpetrator aims to control the narrative and keep everyone off balance.
It's like they're playing mind games with the entire police department.
Exactly.
And Kate isn't the type to just sit back and wait. She decides to launch her own investigation, checking locations where the letters might have been written and looking for any suspicious individuals.
It's commendable that she's taking initiative, but as we see in many real-life cases, solo investigations can be incredibly risky.
Oh, absolutely. But Kate's determination leads her to an unexpected encounter. One evening, she spots an elderly woman frantically writing in a deserted gazebo. It turns out to be Mrs. Bennett, the cashier from the first robbery.
This is where things start to get really intriguing.
Okay.
The discovery that the perpetrator is using a seemingly harmless individual, like Mrs. Bennett, to deliver the messages adds a whole new dimension to the case.
Mrs. Bennett confesses that she's being blackmailed. Someone is threatening her grandson, forcing her to be their messenger. Suddenly, the seemingly random targets and the precise details start to make sense.
It's a chilling reminder that criminals often manipulate vulnerable individuals to further their own agendas.
Right.
The ethical implications of this kind of coercion are quite disturbing.
Absolutely. And what's even more disturbing is the realization that these letters were a distraction. The real target was always Kate's family.
The note warning about danger at the protector's home wasn't meant to be taken literally. It was a clever ploy to draw the police away, leaving Kate's parents vulnerable.
And just as Kate figures this out, she gets a terrifying call from her father. The bank heist, the one they were all so focused on, is happening right now. Her parents are at home, completely unprotected, while she's miles away.
The perpetrator's understanding of police procedure and psychology is evident in this carefully orchestrated plan. They've managed to manipulate the entire situation to their advantage.
It's a truly masterful and terrifying manipulation, leaving Kate in an impossible situation. What will she do next? We'll delve further into this gripping investigation in part 2.
It's a classic dilemma, isn't it? The conflict between duty and family, amplified in the most terrifying way.
And for Kate, it's not a hypothetical, it's her reality.
Right.
Her parents are in danger, and she's miles away with no way to immediately help.
In your notes, you mentioned an interest in the psychological effects of high-stress situations on first responders.
Right.
This is a prime example of how those effects can manifest in real-life scenarios.
It would be easy for Kate to panic or shut down.
Yeah.
But she does the opposite. She uses that fear and anger as fuel to push forward.
That resilience is something we see time and time again in individuals who face extraordinary circumstances. It speaks to the incredible strength of the human spirit.
And Kate needs every ounce of that strength because the clock is ticking. She races back home, her mind racing, trying to anticipate the perpetrator's next move.
Given their meticulous planning so far, it's safe to assume they haven't left anything to chance.
When Kate arrives at her childhood home, it's clear that something terrible has happened. The place is ransacked, furniture overturned, personal belongings scattered everywhere.
This destruction is more than just a sign of a robbery. It's a deliberate act of violation, a way for the perpetrator to assert their dominance and control over the space and the people who live there.
Adding to that feeling of violation, there's no sign of Kate's parents, just a single note left on the kitchen table. A final taunting message from the mastermind.
It's a classic psychological tactic. Leaving behind a physical reminder of their presence reinforces the feeling of fear and uncertainty.
But Kate refuses to let fear paralyze her. She knows that every second counts. She starts meticulously combing through the wreckage, searching for any clue that could lead her to her parents.
Your research mentioned the importance of forensic evidence in these types of cases. Even in the midst of chaos, a trained investigator like Kate knows to look for those crucial details.
And it's that attention to detail that leads her to a breakthrough. As she's examining the note, she notices a tiny, almost imperceptible smudge on the back.
Oh.
A faint reddish-brown stain that could be blood.
Interesting.
The blood analysis confirms it.
Wow.
It's her father's blood. Now the urgency is amplified tenfold. Armed with this new information and fueled by the desperate need to find her parents, Kate dives back into the case with renewed vigor.
This is where Kate's training and her personal determination truly come together. She's able to channel her emotions into action, using them as a driving force to push through the exhaustion and the fear.
She starts re-examining all the evidence, looking for connections that might have been missed before. And then it hits her. A seemingly insignificant detail that suddenly becomes glaringly obvious. Each of the crimes detailed in the letters occurred within a 5-mile radius of an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town.
It's often these seemingly minor details that crack a case wide open. The ability to recognize patterns and connect seemingly unrelated events is a hallmark of a skilled detective.
And Kate's instincts are screaming at her that this warehouse is the key to finding her parents.
The tension is palpable at this point. You can almost feel Kate's desperation and determination as she assembles a SWAT team and prepares to raid the warehouse.
They breach the doors, weapons drawn, adrenaline pumping through their veins. Inside, they find Kate's parents, bound and gagged, but thankfully, alive.
It's a moment of immense relief, mixed with the lingering fear that something could still go wrong.
And in the shadows, they find him, the mastermind behind it all.
The puppet master revealed, but who is he and what drove him to orchestrate this terrifying scheme?
That's a question for part 3 of our investigation. Welcome back to the True Detectives podcast, where we're unraveling the intricate web spun by a criminal mastermind. We left off with Kate and the SWAT team finding her parents, bound but thankfully alive in that abandoned warehouse. And the mastermind was right there, in the shadows, exposed at last.
It's a powerful moment, isn't it? All that tension and uncertainty culminating in this confrontation. The predator finally caught in his own trap.
But I know you're itching to know who this mastermind is.
I am.
And what his motive could possibly be.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, the answer is more complex and more unsettling than anyone could have imagined.
In your research, you expressed a particular interest in the psychology of criminal masterminds.
I did.
This case offers a fascinating glimpse into that dark and often convoluted world.
The mastermind turned out to be a former professor, a specialist in behavioral psychology. He had become obsessed with the idea of proving that anyone could be manipulated.
Oh.
Given the right circumstances.
His elaborate scheme wasn't about money or revenge.
No.
It was about proving his twisted theory. He chose Kate and her family as his subjects,
Right.
carefully crafting a scenario to test the limits of human resilience.
He used those cryptic notes and staged crimes to manipulate the police response.
Yeah.
To control Kate's every move. He wanted to see how far he could push her before she broke.
His actions were a gross violation of ethics, but they do raise some interesting questions about the nature of free will and the power of suggestion.
It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
That someone could believe they have the right to control and manipulate others in such a way.
It speaks to a dangerous disconnect between intellectual curiosity
Yeah.
and moral responsibility.
In the end, the professor's experiment backfired. He underestimated Kate's strength, her determination, and her unwavering love for her family.
He failed to account for the very human element of resilience, the ability to overcome adversity and emerge even stronger on the other side.
So while this case leaves us with some disturbing questions,
Right.
it also offers a glimmer of hope,
I like
a
that.
testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit.
It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, we have the capacity to fight back, to protect those we love, and to find a way to overcome
Yeah.
even the most challenging obstacles.
And that's a message worth remembering, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's a powerful reminder that even when faced with seemingly insurmountable odds, we have the power to choose our own path
Mm.
and to write our own ending.
That wraps up our investigation into this truly captivating case. Remember to rate and follow the show for more true detective stories and chilling revelations. Until next time, stay safe and keep those detective minds sharp.